Amos chapter 6, verse 7 reads, in traditional rendering, "Therefore now they shall go into exile at the head of the exiles, and the revelry of the sprawlers shall depart." This brief verse concludes a section in which the prophet Amos indicts the elite of Israel for their complacency, indulgence, and disregard for justice. Those who recline in luxury while ignoring the decay of their society will be the first to suffer its collapse. The first in privilege will become the first in disgrace. The verse carries the signature tone of Amos, sharp reversal, moral irony, and covenantal consequences. Traditionally, this is read as a judgment oracle, a divine declaration of exile as the just reward for unchecked arrogance and social negligence. The leaders who feast while their people falter will be led away, not as rulers, but as captives. Their revelry is over. Their separation from justice has sealed their fate. The foundation of covenantal life lies in instruction received with humility. As a staff guides the flock, so moral teaching shapes a path forward. The hand that opens, kaf, to receive wisdom enables the continuity of life, none. When that instruction is rejected, what was meant to flourish becomes exposed. The verse begins with, therefore, because the collapse is not random. It is the inevitable fruit of failed formation. True perception, ayin, discerns the mark, tav, of divine boundaries and receives the breath, he, of prophetic revelation. But when the eye grows dim and the sign is ignored, immediacy replaces patience. The word now is not merely temporal. It signals that what should have been a slow unfolding has become urgent judgment. The people saw, knew, and turned away. And now, time collapses into moral consequence. The hand or yad of the people acted with autonomy, initiating movement, gimel, not toward God, but away from covenantal paths. Without the prod of instruction lamed, this motion becomes exile. What could have been growth becomes displacement. They will be carried, not sent, from their place. The exile is a mirror of their own deeds, magnified into burden. The community, once held together by connection, law, structure, bet, and wise leadership, resh, has lost its cohesion. The head of the exiles is a bitter irony. Those once first in honor are now first to fall. The removal of cohesive leadership reveals that their structure was never rooted in justice. It was glued by indulgence, not righteousness. Power, aleph, was not stewarded, it was consumed, shin. Instead of preserving the flock, leaders gorged themselves on its fat. That appetite sparked movement, gimel, but it is not a journey, it is an expulsion. Their indulgence created its own exile. Strength turned inward against the community becomes the very thing that drives it apart. In a well-ordered society, instruction, lamed channels action, yad, to restrain the waters, mem, of chaos. But here, the waters have broken. Deeds have multiplied without form. Celebration has no discipline. The feasting is not a joy, it is moral entropy. Without teaching, every act accelerates the disorder. Revelry becomes the overture to ruin. Leadership, resh, is only as stable as the support, samik, beneath it, and the bonds, wa, that link it to the people. That support has been removed. It shall depart. And what remains is a hollow head without a spine. This is no mere political turnover. It is structural collapse. Authority built on decadence cannot endure. Chaos, mem, birthed leadership, resh, and judgment. Zion answers it. When leadership rises from disorder, its end is inevitable division. The house of revelry, Merzak, is not an innocent gathering but a stage for inverted authority. Their banquet is a throne of mockery, now cut down by the blade of reversal. At the root of the collapse is the destruction of moral boundaries, or het. Without clear limits, support, samik, just erodes, and the head, resh, is left exposed. There's no protection left, y'all. Collapse isn't some abrupt event, but really the terminal phase of a long, invisible decay. Amos doesn't present judgment as sudden. It's been building silently as boundaries vanished. Yet in the ruins, a final triad glows. True life or het linked rightly wa, acts, yod, with purpose. This isn't the system that collapsed. It's the structure that might have endured. It stands apart, a coherent, enclosed source of vitality. The prophet doesn't say it'll flourish, only that it still exists. There remains a living remnant, but it's hidden. The chain begins with rejected instruction, which blinds perception and hollows the covenant. When learning dies, vision fades, and power runs wild. Amos shows that exile isn't imposed from without. It emerges when the soul collapses inward. The first phase of judgment is cognitive corrosion. Disconnected leadership, consumed strength, and chaotic action mark the breakdown of society. There is no one to guide, no rule to restrain, no deed aligned to purpose. The community has turned revelry into ritual and power into appetite. The social body, once structured, is now disintegrating under its own weight. Judgment is not merely punishment, it is inversion. What once stood tall falls first. Leadership born of chaos fractures, boundaries crossed return as consequences. Amos shows that disorder has an architecture, and when the supports fail, the reversal is total. Those sprawled in ease will sprawl in disgrace. Together, these three meta-triads form a complete system of covenantal collapse, interior failure, relational disintegration, and structural inversion. The system doesn't collapse from pressure, it collapses from within. Its moral, social, and symbolic organs have failed. This is not just history unfolding, it is the judgment of structure itself. The verse encodes this recursion as inevitability. What was once whole is now self-destructing. But Amos does not end in noise, he ends in silence. One final triad remains coherent, rightly linked, vital, yet it is followed by a single, final letter, final mem. In ancient script, it signifies sealed waters, gestation, or burial. The verse ends with potential, not resolution. Is the remnant preserved for rebirth, or is it entombed? Amos leaves that unspoken. The judgment stands, but in the sealed triad, so does the hope. This is Amos chapter 6, verse 7, unfolded structurally, not only in language, but in architecture, collapse, and hidden coherence. The prophet does not merely predict exile. He maps the laws of divine order, how they fracture, and what remains alive beneath the flood.